fan going is going to wind up creating enough noise, or if it'll be okay. Well, hello there, good people. Hi, it's Jason with Green Country Agroforestry here for another Wednesday night live stream, and we're sitting here in northeastern Oklahoma, sweltering hot outside. Right now, the temperature is down to 84 degrees indoors with all the air conditioning units running. The high today outside was 104, and it's going to be like this for about the next 10 days on the 10-day forecast. No rain in sight, no breaks. It's just going to be a little minor glimpse of hell on earth for about 10-15 days or so. If the fan going is making too much noise, please let me know, because I can always turn it off and live with it if it is. I've just been enjoying it up to this moment in time because it's hot. So I've got the fan running. Let's see, we've got Vicky in. Can't be part of competition because, well, that's a lot of folks. But hey, yeah, I'll be doing more stuff next year. Who knows? Maybe you'll have bigger prizes next year. We'll see. So, really quick, just waiting for feedback from anybody that's in chat. Let me know if that fan is too loud over here. If you guys can hear the fan, if it's too loud, let me know. If it's not too loud, then we'll proceed with doing this show. Bye. My fingers are all sticky. It's fine, Mary says. Good. I was worried about that. Okay, that's better. I should have had wet wipes over here or something. I was mixing up Tang, and it made my fingers sticky. I needed something to drink to cool me off. Vicky's saying, "Yeah, I got lots of plans and acres, but limited personal physical ability." Hey, I hear you there. We've got limited space and limited ability. As a matter of fact, I was planning on going out today during the day and shooting a little short video of our postage stamp front yard to show to Billy over at Permapasture Farms. You guys know Permapasture Farms, don't you? They got a little channel here on YouTube. Here's one of their products. It says Billy's Bone Sauce right there. Vicky sent me this stuff, although I don't practically have a use for it at the moment. I'm holding on to it because I may want to repel some deer at some point in the future. Billy was showing us all a little roped off area. I kind of did something like that, showing the space around a hazelnut tree so you could get an idea of like how much space you could get calories and protein in compared to raising a hog. You know, it's growing nut trees actually produces more meat than even the mighty hog does, although you can't eat nothing but nuts. But he had an area roped off to show just how a little postage stamp yard, front yard, backyard, can be a highly productive area. And it's like, I actually have one right here in my front yard. I should probably take the camera out there, particularly this time of year, and show you what's going on out there, because it's a lot of perennial stuff and a lot of stuff that produces calories, whether I'm sitting on my backside indoors munching on watermelon trying to stay cool, or if I'm hustling trying to make it work. About the only thing I can say is the cannas this time of year really need to be watered because we aren't getting any rain. All right. So we're going to start off with the cool part. $1,200 at stake. Jason, oh my goodness, have you overextended yourself? Are you okay? Are you going to give away that much money? What's going on? I'll let you in on the $1,000 secret. It's not a competition; it's a wager. For those of you that watch things like Timcast IRL occasionally, last night Tim had Roseanne Barr and Michael Malice on his show. I was watching from chat, of course, like I like to do on nights other than whenever I'm doing a live stream, because it lets me keep an eye on what the youngsters are up to these days. Of course, Roseanne's not a youngster; she's been around a while. Roseanne made a bet uh, regarding the possibility of military tribunals for government officials by the end of the year. And this of course refers to a QAnon conspiracy that key government officials have already been removed from office, and they're being held, and other people have taken their places, and there will soon be military tribunals where the public will get to watch as these criminals are brought to justice. It's fantasy. It's not going to happen. That would be called a junta, and the system's kind of set up to prevent that sort of thing. In any case, she made the bet. Michael Malice took her up on it for $1,000, and I in chat had to open up my mouth and say, "I'll take a piece of that action too." And so, in front of 50,000 witnesses, I took up that particular bet. Now, because she didn't respond in chat at the time, she could probably use that as a means of weaseling out and say, "Yeah, well, I didn't agree to it. I only agreed to the people who were on the panel at the time." But 50,000 people did witness it. So, if things turn out that Roseanne does wind up having to send me $1,000 check, we're going to spend it on upgrading the nursery and getting more trees out to more people, and that'll be a good use of $1,000, because I am very confident that we will not be seeing military tribunals of elected government officials within the next 4 months. Very confident. Anyway, now about the stuff that you guys can get a piece of. All right, so we've got $200 still out there that's going to be won by somebody sometime this year. That is, let's see, the sunflower competition, which we'll get into in a moment. And even before that, if you guys are involved in the global gardening competition with Will It Grow and Homestead Aquarius as the captains, let me put their channel links up for you really quick here. This is John at Will It Grow, captain for the Yankee team. And this is Robert with Homestead Aquarius. And as soon as my computer decides to work properly, we'll be able to put that up. Let me check something here. Let me see. We did not get, okay, they didn't go through the chat. Let me flip that around here. I'm going to put this in the chat here. This is John. Will It Grow? We're going to put it into regular YouTube chat. It didn't want to go from StreamYard for some reason. There's John at Will It Grow. That's the captain of the Yankee team. And of course, we've got Robert at Homestead Aquarius here at this team. If you're not already involved in the global gardening competition for 2023, it's too late to get involved, as far as I know. But do check with them just to be on the safe side. They might have some options for late joiners. Who knows? But probably not. But they're going to have another one next year. Anyway, this year I'm sponsoring, and whoever is the winner from that competition that grows the most food is going to get a $100 gift card from yours truly. And the still outgoing competition, which anybody can get joined up on, is my sunflower competition. And you can find all the details to that in this particular video entitled "I Will Pay You to Plant," the 2023 planting contest announcement. And I'll have a link for that going up right now. Nope, not right there. There we go. There we go. Eric Hale says hi. Irish UMC Vet says evening. All making tallow from the beef fat from a farmer's nest. Cool. So you're rendering your fat. That's awesome. Awesome stuff. And of course, the $100 is still up for grabs for the sunflower competition. Still up for grabs. Brian at Flannel Farms is saying he's going to try to estimate. It's not the rules, Brian, but you do have a very impressive field of sunflowers. Now, for the guys that are interested in following along and seeing what's going to happen with the bet, Roseanne's bet, going to give you another link here that you can follow. This will get you right to Roseanne's podcast, and just kind of make sure that over the course of the next 4 months or so, whenever you can, hop on over there. And a reminder that she's going to have to write a check for $1,000 to a guy in Oklahoma that took her up on that bet, or just admit that she can't cover. Thank you. Greatly appreciate that. All right. So that's what's going on. Wow, that was 10 minutes. That's all it took. Oh, my chat's being weird. Let's see here. There we go. Oh, Mary is saying no, 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 no. See, Mary has talked to me about this, and she says, "Wait a minute. Since you said that in chat, and she didn't respond to it. She doesn't have to. It doesn't count. It doesn't count." I'm like, 50,000 witnesses. She says, "Leave the crazy lady alone." I like Roseanne. Roseanne's a sweet lady. She's a sweet lady, but yeah, you don't want to cross her, right? Oh, I said, yeah, because she didn't respond to that in chat. That means she can probably weasel out of it. Yeah. Simmons says, "Double down." I could. Well, hang on a second. Let me go look at something real quick. Yeah. All right. Don't listen to the keystrokes. Don't listen to the keystrokes. Otherwise, you'll know what my password to my bank account is. Okay. Yeah. Guys, you're going to need to hit that like button and probably watch a few videos or something, because I don't quite have 1,000 in the bank account right now. Don't worry, it'll probably be there by the time it comes around. Oh, Diana is saying, "Oh no, with the poor garden performance I've had this year, no way I could compete. Can't even redeem myself from this year. Oh no. Oh. God doesn't want to perish, but come to repentance." What is the line? Go and learn the meaning of the meaning of this. I desire repentance and not sacrifice. Yeah. Hosea, I think, was actually the scripture that Jesus was quoting from. Hugo says, "Hello." Yeah, exactly. The wages of sin is death, but God does not want people to die. It's just simply that's the way the universe is organized. And my thinking, God does not want to punish, but that's the way things work, and you will suffer consequences if you don't do the right things. That's the way it is. Anyway, so what do we want to talk about? Garden performances? Who else is scorching this year? Is it just us? Is it just us here in Oklahoma that are experiencing yet another hot, dry year? Oh, woohoo! Hear that, Mary? You could go to Arkansas. I don't know who I heard pronounce it the right way. I think you may have spelled it out in the chat somewhere. I read you spelling it out. That's the only reason I know, because you spelled it out. I would not know otherwise. Oh my goodness. Ken's with us, saying, "Hey y'all." And Mary said, "Well, yeah." Mary says it's going to be impossible to sell these houses. She's probably right. On paper, a property in this neighborhood should go for 80,000, even if the house isn't all that great, because you could just tear it down, build. It costs about anywhere from 100 to 120 or so to build just a modest house. on one of these properties out here. So 80,000 for the property, you get 100 for the build. After that, you're looking at maybe 200,000 to buy one of these. Yeah, it's not going to sell right now. This um, particular market, they may be valued high, but there's still no buyers because there has to be two sides to every trade. So I don't know what we'd do. Um, Something came to my attention because weird news pops up from time to time, and I pick it up. This was out in California. One of the news stations out there was reporting on a guy that had received a notification from his insurance company that his policy was being canceled because they had flown over it with a drone and taken pictures and seen that there was clutter, debris, tires in his yard, and dilapidated vehicles. Standard boilerplate, right? Because I'm sure more than one person has heard that exact same thing. Drone flying overhead, taking the footage. Um, he got the pictures. They were they were blurry. They were out of focus. It was way up there. It actually looked like a Google Earth photo that they'd blown up a little bit. You couldn't make out anything. We got the same thing. Google Earth photo, not exactly well dated, blown up, and you couldn't make out anything in there. But they said tires in the yard. There were no tires in the yard. There were 15-gallon oblong tubs that the duck's water is in, but those are not tires. You might consider that to be clutter, but you kind of have to get over the fence into that area before it will become a tripping hazard for you. We had to wind up going around, spending a couple of weekends just picking up a few things so that looked nice, and took pictures of what's really here, so that we could turn those over to them and go, hey, look, your drone footage is kind of blurry and out of focus. I can't tell what you were talking about, but this is what the place really looks like. And so they wound up having to say, okay, we're not going to cancel your insurance. Here, we had the same problem here, is what I'm trying to say. It was the insurance underwriters that were doing this, not the insurance company itself. So this guy out in California, they straight up canceled his insurance, and he took the news crew around to show him what the yard actually looks like. And yeah, it's not cluttered. Yes, actually there are tires there, right next to the fence, next to the classic car that he's in the midst of restoring. So it's not a dilapidated, junked vehicle and a bunch of debris like a junkyard. It's the guy's got a hobby of fixing and restoring a classic vehicle, and these are the things that are associated with them. They're nice, they're neat, they're organized. They're not a hazard of any sort, and they just canceled his insurance over it. And I'm wondering, what's going on? What is the motivation that's having this particular? It's not the insurance company, but the underwriters. That means the people who are providing the money to the insurance company should they have to make a claim. And that's the key, right? Who is it that's providing the money to the insurance company, the loan that they need, the capitalization that they need to be able to write these claims? Because the insurance company is not going to carry all the cash on hand that they need to satisfy every claim that they get. They're having to go get credit for that and then pay it off as they go along. So the insurance companies are using credit too. The underwriters is the people that are holding the purse strings and saying, okay, this is what we're going to pay money for. This is what we're not going to pay money for. And these are the ones making indications to the insurance companies what they should or should not allow in their policies. Does anybody want to take a wild guess by typing the name in the chat of one of those particular people or entities providing capitalization? I'll give you a hint. It's also a company that likes to buy real estate. And how in the world are you going to be able to buy real estate at a stressed price unless you can force the people that have properties that they have not paid off yet, that they're required to carry insurance for, lose their insurance coverage? Can you figure out what company I'm talking about? I'll give another hint. They are They are heavily invested in the Polish national gas company PNGIG. Now, I'm not going to say it out loud, of course, because I don't want to get canceled, but I'll just sort of click on Eric Hale's comment here for a moment. You can see it up there on the screen. Maybe just a little bit. So be on the lookout, guys. I think a hot tip recommendation for homeowners and property owners going forward is get your notes settled as quickly as possible if it's required that you carry insurance on your property in order to keep on living there, because there may be a possibility that somebody may try to get a hold of your property on the cheap by forcing you out of it and using manipulative techniques like having your insurance canceled, making it impossible for you to get or afford homeowners insurance may be one of the tactics or techniques that could be used. And so far, we've managed to fight off those attempts here, but it's not to say that they won't happen again. They tried this a couple of years ago. So it's like every other year they try it. This is like the second attempt that they've made to cancel our insurance. So be aware that stuff is going on. It's out there. One company is actually a subsidiary of the other. I believe that the number 2 in that list is a subsidiary of number 1. So you have this is the like the flagship, and then this one is like a subset. That's the main. That's the main investment firm, and then the second one is under that one. It's a subset. Red Scott quoting Ezekiel 7, as a matter of fact. Ezekiel 7, the people would throw their silver and gold into the street and curse it for its worthlessness. Ezekiel 7, I think it starts 7:6. It's been a while since I read that, like a day or two. But it's not wrong. It's not wrong. There is a certain point in that stage whenever things are changing in civilization that you get to the point where it's like, silver, gold, I can't eat it. It doesn't keep me warm. I can't burn it at night. It won't protect me. I need something real. Not that silver and gold aren't real. They're always going to have value, but at not every point in time are they going to have value for everyone. And if your economic tradings, the way you're going about doing business, have become accustomed to not using silver and gold, then it's not going to be as easy to use it. If nobody has gold, how are you going to trade gold? It's only useful if everybody has it. This is one of the reasons why, as the world's population gets larger and larger and larger, things like physical gold and silver wind up becoming less useful for personal transactions. I know, it's crazy, right? KIA Chris, hi. Either a newbie or not commenting a lot. Many and both institutions own each other and many people. Pyramids. Well, yeah, there's a lot of incestuousness in these companies and corporations. For example, we've heard some stuff in the news about one called Burisma. Burisma is a Ukrainian company. It's actually incorporated out of Cyprus, which is elsewhere. Where exactly is Cyprus? Off the coast of Greece, in the Mediterranean. Now, that's where Burisma is incorporated. But the thing about Burisma is they don't have to disclose. They're a private group, so they don't have to disclose everything and all people who own shares of it. It's not something that's public information. You can sometimes look and see what assets they may have purchased, and some of those assets are kind of interesting. By assets, we're talking about corporations. By corporations, we're talking about legal fictions which have been registered in the state of Delaware at a particular address and then sold to Burisma for a certain amount of cash, if you know what I mean. You can go and you can look and you can match the address and to kind of figure out who it is that lives there, if you're so inclined. Whenever I looked at that, I was like, oh gosh, I hope, guys, I'm not suicidal. I'm not. I'm just saying. I looked at them and went, oh my goodness, am I supposed to know about this? Um, Heterodox says homeowners insurance is over $1,000 a year here. I'm not sure how much ours is exactly. I'm not sure how much ours is. Vicky says I've received many offers for my property at pennies on the dollar. Well, I mean, yeah. Why would I want to put out an offer for a property at less, or at more than I want to pay for? I want to pay less, not more. So I'll offer you a little bit, see if you'll take it. I'll offer you a little bit more later on, see if you take that. Uh, just a little, just a little. Cool. More neighbors. Sasspress say not silver. That's medicine. Yeah, and gold actually does have a couple applications too that make it useful. Silver has more applications that make it useful. Copper even more than that. So I mean, as far as I look at things as far as barter and trade from a usefulness perspective, right? Sure, gold and silver typically, yeah, that's people think of that as being used for as money and used and a means of exchange. But more immediately, what do we need? Well, we need stuff like salt. We need copper. Um, we need food, obviously. But food is perishable. Little Frenchie in Big Texas is with us tonight. Good evening, everyone. Oh, yeah, definitely. Lead, copper, iron, brass, leather, and boot soles. Oh, and boot laces, too, for that matter. Because these things have a tendency to wear out quicker than the boots themselves. I don't know how old these boots are. They still have tread on them. The soles are still attached. They probably need to be weatherproofed again, so they don't get my socks wet whenever I'm walking in the water. But I've replaced the shoelaces twice already. So bootlaces. There you go. Rabbits and quail, worth more than silver and gold. Well, definitely the rabbits and quail. Quail are good too. I have ducks. I don't have rabbits. Don't have rabbits. Don't have quails. Just have ducks. I could get some rabbits. I used to have rabbits. Tricky things, rabbits. Little escape artists. They're clever little critters. I was keeping rabbits for one of my friends. He was a stage magician. I mean, technically speaking, he's still a magician. He doesn't perform for money anymore. He does. He'll do little magic tricks whenever he's delivering sermons and stuff. He's a pastor now. Pastor, minister, mainly homeless ministry. But he'll whenever he's doing a bit, he'll work a magic trick into it. But he had rabbits for his stage act at one time, and we were taking care of him. I was taking care of him. One of them, the big buck was named Pigpen, and Pigpen was an escape artist, and he's lop-ear, about yay big. I mean, he's big, full grown, mature, big buck. Um, he didn't like it in his cage. He's like, I don't want to be in here. So he figured a way to get the top of it open, crawled out through the top, got out in the yard, found some of my peanuts, and then that's as far as he went. He stopped there at the peanuts and just started munching on the peanuts. And he got out more than once, and every single time he got out, the first thing he went to was a legume of some sort. It was clover or alfalfa or peas or beans or peanuts. Always. If he was going to get out, that was exactly where he went. First place he went. So I figured, oh, shoot, well, this gives me an idea about a way that we can, the way that we can help protect our gardens against foreign hostile rabbits. And that's make sure that we've got a barrier around the outside of leguminous plants that they would like to eat. So alfalfa and clover wound up going into my outer perimeter. So that's why I plant them out there. It's part of that scheme Sounds like you should have been feeding more legumes. I He had fresh alfalfa in his, well, not fresh. It was lightly compressed alfalfa, not full on pellets, like baled alfalfa. So he had that in his pen, but he wanted fresh stuff. He wanted to eat fresh. But of course, the show rabbits weren't the buck. The show rabbits were the little ones, because you only have like a limited amount of time to work with them before they become um, unmanageable. But we had two that were pure white, equally matched. They looked identical, and that was perfect because you could do a number of tricks where substituting one animal for another and making it look like an animal has teleported uh, without giving away too much of the tradecraft. It does require two identical animals. So we worked up a routine or two using that. Did something similar with glass uh, glass cups and coins. We put the coin inside the glass. Put one hand over, one hand under. So the glass is here. The coin's inside the glass. You can see the glass. Hand over, hand under. So it's completely sealed inside. The coin's not gonna come out. And then you just pop, and the coin just goes poof, gone. Meanwhile, on the other side of the stage, somebody holding onto a glass, ping, coin just falls in, and they've been holding it like this. Tink, coin falls in. Now, the way that works, also trade secret, but it involves two identical of the same thing. So you can kind of, if you've got, if you want to think about it, you can figure out how it works. Maybe not specifically how it works, but you can get an idea. I don't want to give away too much of the secrets because then it won't be entertaining anymore, right? Hostile rabbits? No, it's not that they're hostile. It's just, if you don't hand them a lot, they get skittish, and whenever they get out there and they're being moved and there's people, and they'll run off, and it's animals make poor co-stars in any circumstances, and that's the reason why I eventually said, I don't want to do animals anymore. I'll stick to the other illusions and leave those out of it. It's just too much trouble. You can kind of predict what they're going to do, but every now and then they do something completely and totally unpredictable. And unless you're ready to ad lib whatever that happens to be and make it part of the show, which is stressful, it's just not worth it. It's a good thing there weren't tigers, right? American chinchillas, Simmons says. American chinchillas. Yeah, you can eat those. You can definitely eat those. Pardon me. I have an itchy nose. This is not my tell. When I scratch my nose, it doesn't mean I'm lying. You can definitely eat chinchillas. So chinchilla is a rabbit breed, huh? That's interesting. I've seen those little critters. But yeah, I mean, you get fur and meat out of them. Can't really get milk. If you could, that would be a little bit awkward. How do you milk a chinchilla? Is it harder than milking a cat? That's all I need to know. I still think it might be cool to develop a backyard pecker. That way, you've got the little miniature pigs. I mean, the little ones. Barbecue grill size. Boom. Raise them up. They have one bad day, and then it's luau time. You can't milk those either. It's kind of hard to get a milkable animal in a backyard space. It really is. Yes, that's right. Remember, everything is meat. That's right. People used to say, Generation X was raised by wolves. I say, nonsense. We weren't raised by wolves. We killed those wolves, disarticulated, and ate them because we were hungry. Some of us cooked them. What are you looking at me like that for? Those are made of meat, same as you. Everything's made out of meat. So Sim is saying, what are the giant guinea pig things? Capybara. I think capybara is kind of like a giant guinea pig, like a 40-pound guinea pig, if you can imagine an animal that size. They are rodents, and they are meaty. Let's see. Hello, Melody. Eric says, this is the first year raising turkeys, and those dudes can put down the food. Yeah, they can put it away, and they pack it on too. I mean, turkeys are great meat. And the only problem that I have with turkeys is whenever it comes time to butcher them, you've got an awful lot of meat that you got to dispose of really quick, and it's kind of hard to smoke it and preserve it that way. You either have to like can it or eat it. I can cook it and can it and eat it. Probably have a pressure cooker for that. You could probably pressure cook your turkey afterwards. But yeah, the best way, of course, is just like we're killing the bird. Everybody, come on over. It's going to be a feast. Bring something with you, whatever you got. We got the meat. I think that's the best way to do it. Really, um, you have those moderately sized animals that maybe is a little bit much for one family to devour all of in one sitting, and that encourages you to invite neighbors over, to have friends over, to engage in community. Bigger animals encourage community activity in a world without refrigeration. Anyway, they do. Um, Gonna eat one for Thanksgiving? Go for it. I mean, go for it. That's. I mean, you should be eating them. One of these days, we're going to eat our ducks. We're either going to eat our ducks, or we're going to pass them on to people for pets. I might send them the pet route. Anyone that wants to take a pet duck before it's time to rotate them out and replace them with younger ones, we may send them out the pet route. But otherwise, yeah, we're going to want to have them to eat them. And it's just at some point they're not going to be producing eggs at the rate that they were before, and you're feeding them, they're not producing, and you don't want to be a domesticated animal, that's for sure. Speaking of domesticated animals, oh my goodness, have you seen humans these days? Greg's Garden and Worm Farm did a bit about domesticating humans and a general overall decline in intellectual capacity that we experience whenever we allow ourselves to become domesticated, whenever we stop being feral humans, wild humans in a way. Um, I made the observation here that yeah, it's Generation X, my particular generation, right? We're the last of the feral humans. It's just a shame, humans these days, right? The new one's coming up, pumped full of hormones and antibiotics, fattened up. They got no idea what it's like to live life outside of a cage. But when you think about it, pretty much that's what a city is like. It's like a great big old feedlot, and the product being fattened up is human beings. Human beings, product, one way or the other. This is it. Either you're paying for what it is that you're getting, or you are the product. Uh-huh. Well, you kind of have to, because rabbits are tricky that way. Oh yeah, you gotta see the gate to know that you're in a cage. Yeah. All the same, they still don't know. I was so disappointed with I was so disappointed with the Matrix. I really was. Still going on about that movie. I'm disappointed because When I was watching the trailers, this is before the movie was released, right? When I was watching the trailers, there was Morpheus, right? It's like, I'm only going to show you the truth, right? I'm only going to show you the truth, and he's letting you see the what's behind the curtain, the world that's pulled down around your eyes to hide the fact that you're a slave. And I thought, this is the movie. They're going to go there, right? They're going to explain, because I have that same feeling, right? It's like, can't quite put my finger on it, but I know it, and I experience when I go to church, whenever I pay my taxes, whenever those little bits there when in that spiel that he's giving, you think he's going to be talking about something else, and then it turns around. Oh, it's AI machines, simulated reality, and this big science fiction fantasy sort of hoo-ha. So we had to make the movie. We had to make the actual Matrix movie. And it took a while to get done, but we now actually have the real Matrix movie. The one that the Matrix should have been, but was not. The one that actually shows you how those psychopaths that we've allowed to write things on pieces of paper for us that take the place of actual law, how it is that they managed to pull the world over our eyes and blind us to the truth that we are indeed slaves. So what the Matrix was trying to get across is going to be transmitted through a different movie, and that should be coming up in chat in a moment there. You can follow this link right here. Follow this link to Eventbrite to get your tickets for the August 5th live streaming. This is the live streaming premiere of the Jones Plantation movie. And whenever you get to the credits, you'll be able to see my name there as associate producer. I think for every ticket, like my take is like 1 penny. It's not much. But yes, it's going to be awesome. You're going to be able to join in a live chat session with the screenwriter, with the director, some of the actors that are involved with. Of course, I'll be there too. Hi, I'm Jason Avers. You may not know me as my other alternate personality, but yeah, I'm one of the people that does a lot of work in the anarchist community as far as getting the principles and philosophies defined and written down in ways that people can actually understand and interact with, that makes sense, right? What is this anarchy thing? What are you talking about? We're talking about social organization without a ruling class. Social organization without a ruling class, where all human beings actually have free and voluntary interactions with other human beings, where the concept of somebody coming up to you and threatening you with violence unless you surrender your money is a crime under all circumstances, not just because somebody who happens to be wearing a uniform or a costume or have a shiny piece of metal. Not because psychopaths write things down on paper and go, oh, you have to follow these things instead of what's written here in your heart, right? I said the A word. Yes, anarchism. From the Latin, meaning without ruler. Without ruler, not without law, not without order, without rulers, without a ruling class. Incidentally, America, intentionally, originally, supposed to be without a ruling class. Without a ruling class. Of the people, by the people, for the people. That's what we're supposed to have here. And we kind of lost that. We lost that in 1787. Well, we lost that along the way. 1787 is where it started. Faith K says, hello, people. I'm late. You can start now. Hi, Faith. You got to have a little faith. All right, so we're going to start now. So, Faith, you're already familiar with the $100 prize we have going out for who can plant the most sunflowers. The details for that are in this link here. Let me put it in regular chat because StreamYard chat's being weird. It says, maybe I'll become a cricket farmer. Might gain special privilege status when they're forced to eat bugs. Well, crickets are a great feedstock for birds and for fish. So if you're looking to feed birds and fish, grow crickets, feed the crickets to the birds and the fish, eat fish and eggs. I think that's a win-win. I, I love fish and eggs. As a matter of fact, fish and eggs is great, and they can be produced in very small amounts of space with relatively simple inputs from the outside. For example, you can feed them crickets. You can feed them mealworms. You can feed them soldier fly larvae. You can feed them minnows. Wonderful stuff. Heterodox said yes, something very true. We let the rulers define anarchy. We allowed the meaning of the word to be defined as chaos and have not stood up and go, no, that's not what it means. And we've tried to tiptoe around what we're trying to talk about. What we're trying to talk about is natural law. This thing that we all know, the thing that we all obey, except for there's a segment of our population that doesn't. It really is. It's just the psychopaths, it's the sociopaths, the people that have antisocial personality disorder. It's maybe 5 to 7% of the population, maybe a little bit more now, because sociopathy is bred by psychopathy. People who are victimized by psychopaths, pattern behavior, they become sociopaths. So we have this growing, I would say, kind of infected group of people, and there's only about maybe 3% of the population ordinarily that are primary psychopaths. It's distributed evenly between men and women. It's not like, oh, well, the men are psychopaths, the women are okay. No, there are a lot of female psychopaths out there. Maybe more than a couple of them you might define as Karen. But not all Karens. Some of them are just nuts. But anyway, in a country the size of the United States, that's 15 million psychopaths. All of them out there that will abuse the rules of social and civil discourse to get their own way until you punch them in the nose or the equivalent. They will abuse a civil society until they're stopped. And they have to be stopped by force. That's the reason that we have paper law. It's for the psychopaths because they don't follow natural law automatically. The prickling of the consciousness that says, wait a minute, I know that what I'm doing here isn't right. I know I'm doing it, sure, yeah, but I know it's not right. It's the normal people that torments us. It bothers us. Doesn't mean that we won't commit crimes from time to time. We will. But even when we do, it bothers us that we commit crimes. Even if we don't get caught, it bothers us. That's normal. That's a normal person. And the reason that happens is because we already knew what the law was. Somebody didn't have to come along and tell us. We already know because all these things, if somebody did them to us, we would consider them to be offenses. We would, if we were able to do so, defend ourselves against these offenses. It's reasonable to assume that that's true of everyone else, and it is. The psychopath just does not have the capacity to feel empathy. And so as a result, they will commit the offenses without conscious preventing them or tormenting them when they do. So we have paper law. We write things down on paper and go, okay, we have to write it on paper for the psychopath because everybody else already knows it. It's here for the psychopath. But once we start writing things on paper, what happens? See, we have the law right here. I know I don't want to be murdered, so I know it's not right for me to murder other people. I know I don't want to be stolen from, right? I don't want to be robbed. So I know it's not right for me to steal from other people. I know that I don't want to be assaulted, so I know that it's wrong to assault other people. I know this. I know this is reinforced by society all around me, all of my peers, right? Whenever we see a kid on the playground that's being a bully, that's misbehaving, we all know who the bad guy is. We know. It's obvious to us. So we take paper, we write. And we can write exactly the same rules on this piece of paper to start out with. Here we go. We have just papered over natural law. And now, as society becomes more complex, we have more paper. And then we have the psychopaths. Remember, these are the people that the system is made for. This is what this is made for. They're able to come along and go, ooh, this is cool. We have these rules written on paper that people have to obey. And because they have to obey these rules that are on paper, and we can have access to the means to create these rules, and you notice how we can bend them and fold them and manipulate them. See, this is multiple layers of rules written on paper. And pretty soon, what does this look like? Does this look like anything like the law that was written here? The law that everybody automatically obeys automatically? I just repeated myself. The law that everyone automatically obeys? Does this look like natural law? No, it doesn't. It's a distortion. This is a distortion. It's a distortion made by psychopaths to serve psychopaths. That's what it's for. That's what it's for. Whenever a legislator creates a law that's not already encompassed within natural law, what have they created? They have not created law. They have made crime. They have made crime. Sorry, guys, I get a little emotional about this one because we've got a junction of civilization that we have to get past, and we can't get past it as long as we are allowing the psychopaths to be in charge. And that's how they are in charge, because they papered over natural law. I don't know how much more simple I can make it. What? Mitch glitched. What? He's a droid. Self-defense is not murder. No, it's not. Because whenever you go and you violate natural law, in other words, you transgress and you're committing these offenses against another person, you forfeited your rights to the protection that natural law provides. You're violating the law. You're not living within natural law. You're living within the law of the jungle. The law of the jungle is not natural law. The law of the jungle is kill or be killed, eat or be eaten. And so the law of the jungle is the consequence of not abiding by natural law. Now, if you're of the religious persuasion, particularly Judeo-Christian or even Muslims, then you're familiar with the concept that the wages of sin is death. The reason the wages of sin is death is not because God punishes. It's because whenever you offend against other people, the appropriate response from other people and societies, their friends, their families, everyone around them, is to oppose that offense up to the point of death. That's ultimately how you stop psychopaths from destroying your civilization. Is by abiding by and obeying natural law. And whenever people show you that they cannot abide by natural law and live as civilized beings, you have to remove them from your society, one way or another, but they have to be removed from society. All right. Are we having fun tonight? Basically saying, I think sociopaths lean farther male. Maybe. There's an awful lot of victimized males out there. And yeah, whenever people are victimized, they model behavior. What was it they were shown? All the adults in my life showed me that the way you get your way, the way you can have what you want, is to impose your will upon other people with violent force, or impose your will upon other people with manipulations, one way or another. Game the system, cheat the system, use violent force directly. However it is, that's how you get your way. This is the behavior that people are modeling. If people are modeling this behavior, what are they doing? They're being taught how to be criminals. Who's doing the teaching? Parents at home, yes. Parents at home, but also society at large. Because we're taught at our institutions about the power of authority. Or what is that? The threat of violence. That's how you get your way. So yeah, they model the behavior. And we have bullies in the school. Why are bullies a problem in the school? Because they're taught to be bullies in school. Because they're taught how to be bullies. They're taught how. Okay, Face is asking, we're catching up with sunflower question. Too late for 6B? Not too late. Sunflowers take about 75 days to hit maturity, so you have enough time to get sunflowers before your frost hits. More than likely, you still have time. But that's black oil sunflower, the plain ordinary birdseed sunflower. If you want to get in on it, Go ahead and get them planted down, and go again. So planted 40 feet of them. None of them came up. That's horrific. Horrific. At first, do not succeed. If you still got seeds, try again. Of, by, and for the people under God's law. That's the thing, right? It's under God's law. If you're a Latin scholar, you could read Summa Theologica. Of course, that is a Christian book, but it sums up natural law in those kind of terms. I like to sum it up in non-ecclesiastical terms because not everybody is a Christian. But as it turns out, you don't have to be to understand natural law. If you start obeying natural law, you're going to kind of automatically fall into Christian behavior, though. And you may as well be a Christian at that point, because you're going to be being obedient to the law of God. Melody says, cricket can stink. I had a bait shop. Crickets, any bugs, really. Grasshoppers, too. Cockroaches. You get them up together. Shoot. One method, I don't know if I'm going to show this as a video because I don't want to do it. This is straight, I don't want to do it. A method that you can produce a treatment for various insects is to gather the insects, you physically collect them. I showed you how to do it with grasshoppers. It works similarly for other things. You put them into a jar. You seal the jar up, put a little bit of water in there, and you allow them to rot. And you allow them to rot down until they're done, and then you dilute that. You spray it on the things that you don't want insects to attack, and it's an effective means of stopping insects because all of the bacteria that are involved in the process of decomposing those particular insects are now supercharged and spread over the surface of whatever it is that you're wanting to protect. And the insects get up there and go, yeah. They will either avoid it or they will wind up getting sick and dying shortly after being exposed to it. So that's a dirty little way to work up a little homemade spinosad. Well, yeah. With regards to yeah, I don't want to teach natural law from a biblical perspective, unless if I'm talking to Christians, I would more than happily. Because I'm going to be speaking your language, right? If I'm going to be talking to Hindus, I would rather speak to Hindus in imagery that they're familiar with. If I'm going to be talking to Muslims, I want to speak to them in imagery they're familiar with. If I'm going to be talking to Jews, I'm going to speak with them in imagery that they're familiar with. But I can strip all of that away and still have the same natural law. The same natural law. And yeah, if we're going into the prescriptions in Leviticus, no cutting the corner of your beard. Like, what in the world is that? Yeah, it could be. But also, various cultures have their own rules and customs. And as long as the rules and customs that your culture is engaging in are not a violation of natural law, then I don't really see a problem. And of course, you can go, well, Jason, what about? All right, well, examine that. Is it a violation of natural law? Yeah, the practice is okay. Then it's not good. It's very simple because you can apply the same standard universally. You can apply the same standard universally. That's how you know it works. It's revealed law, not written on paper. It's just the one you already have here. All right. So anyway, the wager I made last night in front of 50,000 witnesses, which Roseanne did not acknowledge last night. She can still, at some point in the future, acknowledge that okay, I'll take you on your 1,000 days. Of course, she already knows. You gotta know that you can't win this particular bet. As much as you would like to see some of the bad actors in the United States government actually stand trial for their real crimes, we're not going to see military tribunals of elected officials in the United States publicly, probably not even privately, within the next 4 months. It's just not going to happen. So don't forget to go over to Roseanne's channel and drop her a comment reminding her that she's on the hook for $1,000. Let's see. Let's catch up here. As long as everyone can agree that her imaginary friend only talks to them and tells them what to do, and said imaginary friend has no rule over another, then we can get along. See, I don't have to tell you that my God says this, because if it's true, it's true. If it's true, it's true, and it doesn't matter what I say. You can just discover the truth for yourself, as everyone does. So my particular way of thinking about things, right? I'm looking at this being that creates the entire cosmos. This being that takes the universe and molds it and shapes it. What is the being doing, molding and shaping the universe? It's out here, beyond it, outside of it. So if I'm down here inside of it, lower dimension, trying to look out, figuring out what's going on outside of me, where's that light at? Well, you can see the shadow on my hand, right? Of that bottle. Imagine my hand is, well, it's a lot easier to do the imagining if I've got a flat surface. Okay, we got a two-dimensional surface represented by this particular plane here. And on that two-dimensional surface, you can see a shadow in 2 dimensions. That's cool. If you're inhabiting this two-dimensional world, you can see that shadow, and you can go, well, something is casting that shadow. What does that something look like? Well, we happen to know, looking outside of this, that this is a 3-dimensional object, because we are beings that are existing beyond 3 dimensions, and go, oh, this is a bottle. How does the bottle interact with us? At the point of contact, it's experiencing being squished. It's experiencing the liquid inside of it moving, that sort of thing. What does it know about us? The shadow. So if we're dealing with the being that exists outside of time and space that creates the known universe, what do we know about that being? Well, we can infer quite a lot from the evidence, right? From the shadow. But we don't actually have the ability to empirically look at that being and go, I can quantify this thing and tell you exactly what it is. I have reduced it to its individual components, and I now can go, this is your God. Here it is. You cannot do that. This is the reason why my ancestor Ram smashed all the idols in his father's shop and said, maybe they had an argument amongst themselves. And then he went off and started monotheism. It's because if there is this creative force, it is something beyond what we can quantify and hold in our hand and go, this is our God. It's not the way it works. Our God is beyond us. And so we don't have the ability to say, yes, I know with absolute certainty, and I can tell you that this is the way it is. No, we can't. But we can tell each other that this is what I think, this is what I believe. I've thought about this for a while, and it may be somewhat like this. And that's perfectly acceptable. It's perfectly acceptable for us to share our views and our thoughts in that way without animosity, and certainly without violence against each other on account of those beliefs. We can have some compassion in our dealings with others and not call them imaginary friends. My imaginary friend can beat up your imaginary friend. No, you can't. Yes, you can. No, you can't. Yes, you can. Yeah. It's pretty much just paraphrasing. Yeah, your concept of what Godhead is, what Godhood is, may be very different. I told somebody this was in a forum with a lot of atheists talking to them. It's like, maybe your God is the self-organization of carbon and silicon and other materials as they are expressed with an ever expanding chaotic universe containing within it multiple subsets that could be expressed one way or another upon observation, solidifying into reality. And that is your God, your understanding of the way the universe is put together. It doesn't seem to be very personal, but it has within it the gates of logic and seeming consciousness, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, it does. Where does that come from? Now, to me, it says maybe there is consciousness behind it. But once again, this is shadow, right? It's the shadow. I see the evidence. I see the evidence of a consciousness behind the universe, behind creations, but I don't see the consciousness itself. Silly Jason. It's been clearly explained to us that morality is subjective. Please report immediately for deprogramming. Yes, yes. Yeah, once we get to the point where most of us are feral humans living by natural law, and I know a lot of people are scared of this concept. Oh my gosh, what? There's no cops? There's no cops? What if my neighbor wants to steal from me? Has your neighbor wanted to steal from you before? I mean, maybe he has, but what stopped you from defending yourself from somebody stealing from you before? What stopped you from hunting down somebody that offended you and slaughtering every member of their family? What stopped you before? No, I'm not saying you should slaughter every member of the family. That may be a little extreme. As a matter of fact, slaughtering every member of somebody's family, one of my neighbors, that might get me a little bit worried about you. But seriously, what has stopped the wrath of the victims from putting a quick end to immoral activities? Could it be the distortion? Could it be the paper? No rules, no slaves. All right, so I put that out for you. I'm going to put it out one more time just in case you guys are. Let me refresh this page here because I think I accidentally cut and paste something into that area. I cut and paste something into my browser that I wasn't supposed to. So this is coming up August 5th at Eventbrite. Here's Stabby McStabwood. Hey, long time no see. We have got a link here for the streaming premiere of Jones Plantation. This is the movie that The Matrix was supposed to be, but wasn't. It is something you have never seen coming from Hollywood, and never would see coming from Hollywood. It's completely independent. Budget was $150,000, which is just a drop in the bucket. Right now, we're at the advertising and marketing phase, and of course, we don't have a budget for advertising and marketing, so it has to be people that like me and people like you that go, hey, look, this movie is worth watching. The tickets, the streaming event tickets are $20. You'll be able to sit down, talk and chat with me, one of the producers. Also, other producers are going to be there too. So not just the associate producers, but some of the bigger names. The director will be there. Most of the actors will be there. The screenwriter will be there, and it's going to be something else, guys. It's really going to be something else. The Matrix, except it's the Matrix the way the Matrix should have been, where it exposes how the psychopaths managed to mind control human beings and turn them into slaves. So if you're interested in not being a slave, you'll want to watch this movie. If you don't know what in the world I'm talking about and think that you're free, you definitely need to see this movie. Definitely. Like, no cap, guys, no cap. If you think that you're free, where you are right now, I don't care where you are in the world, if you think that you're free, you need to see this movie. Period. We had one about slavery not too long ago, right? Okay, well, that one's about a certain subset. And yes, a rather nasty subset. But it's bigger. The picture is a lot bigger. And this movie, Jones Plantation, will pull the whole cover off. You'll see exactly how slaves are made. All right. Without too much nasty graphic stuff. There might be the N word in there. The N word might be used. Hopefully that doesn't trigger too many people, but it's contextually used and appropriate for time period and other stuff. Anyway, let's see. Sasspress hears the voice in his head. Just saying. I wonder how many people. Okay, so seriously, I wonder how many people have gone to the doctor, and in the questionnaire where they're filling out in the intake, they're asked the question, "Do you hear a voice in your head?" And they think of internal dialogue and go, "Yes, I hear the voice in my head," and immediately they're on medication. I wonder how many people that's happened to. Faith. Oh dear. You know, the people that bring up the flying spaghetti monster are using this as an anti-argument. They do not believe in the flying spaghetti monster. So if we're talking about relative beliefs, my beliefs, your beliefs, his beliefs, their beliefs, and they go, "Well, I believe in the flying spaghetti monster," you can look at them, straighten their eyes, and say, "No, you don't. You're lying. And I know you're lying. And you know that I know that you're lying, so stop it." That's what you do. Don't play their game. If you see a psychopath trying to manipulate civil discourse, don't play their game. Call them on it. And they'll either run or they'll get combative. If they get combative, put them down. Because there are rules to civilization. Oh, that is awesome, Eric. That is awesome. So you're going to be able to spray that. Take that, you spray it, and that should deal with cornworm. Yeah. You can't. There's certain behaviors in civilization should not be tolerated. Should not be tolerated, because you cannot have a civilization if you tolerate them. Let's see. Heterodox says the video I linked in chat is unavailable. Oh no. Heterodox is saying, Roseanne, who? Heterodox, which one? The one from. Let's see. Hit this refresh button here. The video would have been the corn planting contest video. Make sure I've got the right link there. This is the contest link for the contest, corn planting contest. Rules are there in the description. There we go. Roseanne Barr, incidentally, Roseanne Barr. She was on Timcast IRL last night alongside Michael Malice. Made an outrageous claim regarding. See there, I touched my nose again. Does this mean that I don't believe that it's outrageous? No, I think it's outrageous. She made the outrageous claim that there will be military tribunals of elected government officials, for their crimes with regards to things like Pizzagate before the end of this year, and they will be public. Now, the reason she believes this is because she's been reading conspiracy websites. You know the kind of conspiracy websites we're talking about. I happen to believe those particular conspiracy websites are, in fact, leftist controlled opposition. In other words, the left put those up. The American political left is responsible for those rumors. And the reason that they put them out there is so they can point at the people that believe them and go, look at that crazy person. See the crazy stuff they believe? They're a lunatic. It's so that they have an easy time calling you a nutcase. If you believe that stuff, they go, yeah, I don't believe you. You're a nutcase. And that way they can dismiss whatever other arguments you have, even if they're valid. Psychopathic technique right there. You have to reject the premise. Look, I could be wrong about one thing or another. I can't. But I'm not wrong about this. Faith says she'll be on the road on the 5th. Oh no. But it'll be seen again. That's just the streaming premiere. You'll be able to see it again after. I don't know about a DVD release. I'll look into that. There was once upon a time I made DVDs for a living. You know, weddings and graduations and all that fun stuff. Is the statute of limitations up? Maybe something else too. Let's see. And some views that are very contrarian to modern day morality. Well, modern day morality isn't morality, is it? It's art. It's an artificial construct of morals. Terrorized or traumatized, yeah. Wait, the imaginary friends kept coming at you? They're like, hey, we're not imaginary. Stop it. That's a rational position, actually. I would say I do not have faith. I do not have faith. But as much as is highly probable, I think it's highly probable that there is intelligence behind the design of the universe, even though I cannot truly know what exactly or precisely that intelligence is, aside from the shadow effect, being a being of an intellect existing on a lower dimensional plane. I cannot look outside and go, oh, that's what God is. I can see him clearly. I can pick him up, turn around, shake him a couple of times, bonk him on the head, and see if he has a reaction. I can't do that. I can't empirically measure my creator in this way. But that doesn't necessarily mean there is none. It's just simply I cannot tell you what it is. Well, so there actually is a group of people. They're essentially the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is an organized group of nihilists, which is just a weird concept, because nihilists actually literally believe that there are no belief systems can be trusted. No beliefs can be trusted. There is no such thing as objective truth, right? And the bringing up the flying spaghetti monster as our god. We are the followers of the spaghetti monster, the flying spaghetti monster, and that's used as kind of a mockery of people's actual beliefs. And as a mockery, it is rude. It's very rude. Okay, good. Yeah. All right. So hopefully it came through the second time. Yeah. There you go. Be a savage. Be feral. I mean, what is it? I like Nick Freitas, the Virginia House of Representatives guy. Occasionally does shorts, and you'll see him sipping his coffee. Big bulging forearms, right? Looks a little buff. Former Green Beret, alpha male. Everybody wants to be him, right? But he said, I absolutely agree. I find myself agreeing with him a lot. If you're going to be good, you have to be at least a little bit dangerous. Because if you're not dangerous, you're not good. You're just harmless. No, they won't. They won't. But also, based upon the record of history, the establishment won't be the establishment forever. And it's not even like we have to do anything. I mean, pretty much, they fall apart. These organizations that exist beyond the boundaries of natural law, they disintegrate. And they disintegrate because nature will not allow them to exist long is a relative term, right? But nature will not allow an artificial organization like this, an artificial structure to exist. Eventually, natural law will be followed. And the question of how violently natural law is followed whenever it comes time for the bill to be due, I think really is kind of a factor of how long the people have gone under this sort of oppression, and how extreme, and how far removed it is. They say, but did you make VHS? Do you have recorded proof of this? I was actually recording. I was recording. Yeah, Pastafarians is another term for followers of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. It's Pastafarians. Yeah. Oh, that's the was it Zachariah? Was it Zachariah Sitchin or the Eric von Daniken was Chariot of the Gods, right? Zachariah Sitchin was the one that has his translation of Sumerian to place the Anunnaki as the god beings that came from another planet that came down and took man and took him and transformed him into a being and placed him in Apsu, or he was in the Eden and then moved him from the Eden to go mine gold in the Apsu. That's I think that the way that one goes. There are a lot of people that don't think that he's got the right translation of that. There's also some things to think about whenever you're a primitive people and you're encountering a more technologically advanced civilization that comes to you and go, "Hi, we're here to show you some things about civilization. We're gonna teach you how to mine the yellow metal because we kind of like it, and we're gonna show you how to grow crops, like we do. And here's this special plant that we engineered for you. We call it corn. We don't. We call it maize. Here you go. You're gonna have that to eat. It's gonna be good for you. Oh yeah, and here's the rules that we want you to follow and stuff like that." I don't know. There are stories around the world about advanced civilizations in different cultures. You have them in Hindu myth, deep time Hindu myth. They appear in the Book of the Hopi as well. During the previous world, the last one before it got destroyed, the men got into flying machines and they flew over the oceans to do war with each other with flying machines that fly over the oceans. These stories go back before the Wright brothers, guys. So you have stories in antiquity about people with flying machines and people coming down out of the skies and going, "Here's the gift of civilization." The question is, are they alien beings? Are they angels? Are they demons? Or are they just like we have today, advanced civilization interacting with a less advanced civilization? The less advanced civilization being of simpler nature and better adapted to living in nature when that advanced civilization has its inevitable collapse. Because what are they doing? They're not following natural law, so they collapse. They go away. But the people who are living simply, the meek, who inherit the earth, remember those people. Yeah, we remember them. They came along, they built those really big things, and we passed the stories about these people, the ancients. They built these things. And it wasn't our people. It was them, their people. They did that. Oh, yeah, that's more of that giant stuff. Right? The old people. And then they pass into legend. They pass into myth. And then another culture comes along and says, "Who built these things?" They go, "Oh, it's the giants. Civilization a long time ago." And you don't believe them. You don't believe them. They go, "Oh, you must have made that. You must have made that and forgotten about how you made that. That's what happened." Heterodox is saying, "I used to have a few Foxfire books, but no more. Would a second edition full set be a reasonable investment?" Yeah, I think so. There's some um, there's more than some. There's quite a bit of Appalachian folkism in there. Some stuff that's not actually factual, uh, just because it's based upon, once again, the beliefs that the people in the hills had, or at least the guy that you're talking to at the time. I remember the one story. There's a guy who's being interviewed. He says, "Ah, they didn't go to the moon." Okay, we've heard this one before. Yeah, I didn't go to the moon. They went to a place called Mars. That's where they went. And so they're writing the Foxfire book. So they were just interviewing people in Appalachia and writing down what they said. And sometimes it's actually useful, practical information, like how to butcher a hog, how to make the sausage, how to save the sausage, how to go about canning, how to go about identifying which plants are safe to eat and when, how to go about making gunpowder. It's been, I think, it's five. Could be wrong. It's either 3 or 5. Top of my, I'd have to go look at the library and I can tell you. But yeah, I think it's still worthwhile getting. Um, any kind of books that give you practical information on how to do real world things, preferably with as few means as possible. So, um, have a book entitled "How to Make Everything." I think I've got one like that. It's just a variety of different stuff that you can make. There's another one that has an entire list of common chemical compounds that are used to make common products. I mean, we're talking the stuff that you go to the store and buy is made of chemical compounds that you can actually either get or synthesize yourself at home. You either get them easily or synthesize them yourself at home. And then if you have your recipe book here, like I think I want to make some baking soda. So I need some cream of tartar and I need sodium bicarbonate. And I mix those two together. I've got baking soda. I don't have to buy baking soda if I can either acquire sodium bicarbonate or synthesize it, or I can acquire cream of tartar or synthesize it. Then I'm that much closer to being able to go. I don't have to buy baking powder. I'm good. I got my wheat growing. My ducks are keeping the bugs out of it. I've got my hand mill. I can grind my grain. I can make my flour. I can make my biscuits because I can make my own baking powder. Woohoo! Or I know how to keep a yeast starter going. Other great information. How to keep a yeast starter going. Yeah, I've got somewhere around here. I haven't done it in a while. But I haven't done it because I have an ample supply of champagne yeast. I'm not worried about running out anytime soon. We're talking dry packaged sealed champagne yeast. And it's still fairly new. But if I was looking at a situation where, oh no, I'm not going to be able to renew my supply of champagne yeast. So the next time I make cider, that's going to be the last yeast I get. It's going to be gone, folks. I don't know what I'm going to. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a portion of that cider, put it in this 1 gallon jug, and periodically I'm going to feed it. I'm going to feed it sugar, and then I'm going to remove about half of it, replace it with sterilized water that boiled, sterilized, good to go in there. Replace the water, add more sugar. They keep on going until I'm ready to make something with yeast again. And then every time I need to make something with yeast, I've got the culture right there. I can pull out a little bit. There we go. Let that dough rise. We're good to go. I mean, I don't know if I want to bake with champagne yeast. Who knows? Maybe it might make my baking better. Who knows? It might. Vicky says she's got the full set. I don't have the full set. I've got a few volumes. I don't have the full set. But one thing you can do, if you don't have a lot of cash, I know some people use their cell phones, so you may be watching on your cell phone. You can Google stuff, but you want to have hard copy. So whenever you can, get to a library and look for Mother Earth News on microfiche back issues and ring your quarters, or you might do it digitally. I don't know how your library is going to do it. You can make copies, photocopies, off of all of these back issues that have the things that you want to know about. And there's a lot of things you're going to want to know about in those back issues. Hit up those periodicals. You can also photocopy the relevant parts out of the Foxfire books. It's not wrong or illegal for you to make copies for personal use for no monetary gain. You're not if you're not going to be taking them and selling them, you won't be violating copyright law. You're going to make a photocopy of the relevant information that you want to keep so that you can go, okay, I need to know how to do this. Okay, I do. I've got it right there. So instead of spending, $20 for a book, if the book only has 2 or 3 pages that have the information that you really want, because you can go to the library, you can check it out and look good. Do I actually need to own this entire book, or do I just need to have this copy, this page right here, and maybe this page right here, and then out of this set over here, this page, that page, that page, and that page, and this book is this good enough. I may buy the entire thing. You don't necessarily have to buy an entire book, unless you're buying a book by myself or David the Good, in which case you do need to buy the entire book, and you need to buy all of them. But that's only because you make money that way. Dr. Michael Heisner had some far out there stuff too. I'm unfamiliar with Michael Heisner. I'll have to look him up. How to get potassium nitrate. This is a whole bunch of different things you need potassium nitrate for. It's not necessarily for making gunpowder. Although, interestingly enough, a lot of your recipes are you're going to come across that, because that's most of the sources that are out there is like, here's how you make gunpowder. But nitrate is good for a whole bunch of different things, mainly fertilizer. Fertilizer, meat preservation. If you have angina, that's chest pains, nitrate helps to put it into those, but about a pinch under your tongue. And allow it to absorb, and you're going to swallow some too. And then within about 5 or 10 minutes, the chest pains go away, which is kind of cool. Still no excuse for going to see the doctor about why you have the chest pains in the first place. We're talking vascular constriction in the arteries surrounding the heart, probably led on by an excess of plaque buildup, unhealthy diet, that sort of thing, possibly not enough exercise. That's all correctable too. Jason says, a couple of days before he dies of congestive heart failure, right? Nobody knows the day or the hour, guys. That's the same. Fair use is generally 10% of the book or chapter out of 10 or more. Yeah, it kind of depends. And also fair use depends too. It's like if I'm using this for educational purposes, if I'm taking a portion of the work and using it as an example as part of something else that's greater than you can argue fair use. A lot of people don't give you a lot of hassle about fair use in circumstances like that. Music and entertainment media, stuff that's produced by Hollywood, stuff that's produced by Nashville, stuff like that, you might wind up having more problems claiming fair use, and might want to stick to the 10% rule, and sometimes just avoid certain artists entirely. For example, there's a certain song that you're supposed to not play. The reason you're not supposed to play Stairway to Heaven in guitar shops actually isn't because of copyright concerns. It's because most people can't play it very well, and nobody wants to hear Stairway to Heaven played poorly over and over and over again. But in practical terms, the last time I played an Eagles song, I got a copyright claim. Yep, I got one for Nazareth. Love Hurts also. I play whenever we got monetized. I said, okay, we're not going to get this stream is not going to get monetized, so I'm going to pick up the guitar and I'm going to play copyrighted material because I wanted to. And that was really the last time I did it. Other than I think I played a little bit of the intro to Fade to Black by Metallica a few weeks ago. I didn't even play the entire intro. I was just playing the that bit. But yeah, I got a copyright claim from Nazareth, and I got a copyright claim from the Eagles. It wasn't from them. It wasn't from the bands. It was from the recording studio that owned the rights to their music. So we want to have a portion of your income from this live stream. Like, joke's on you because it wasn't monetized to begin with. What about Freebird? Oh my goodness, yeah, play some Freebird, right? Was it? Yeah, I was on David the Good's channel, Fair Use. I was on David the Good last night. Incidentally, guys, if you don't know David the Good, check out David the Good. It's the survival gardening channel with David the Good is the name of the channel. And just a moment here, let me just grab that channel link for you real quick, just on the off chance. I mean, it's not likely. It really isn't likely, but it's likely. Just off chance, not likely, but off chance. I keep on saying that. That somebody may stumble along and find this live stream later and go, "Who is this David the Good that he's talking about?" There is the link to David the Good's YouTube channel, gardening author, media sensation, David the Good. Excellent guitar player. Well, he's better than I am. And last night he might have gotten a copyright claim. Something like that. Is that how that song's supposed to go? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you got several claims. We're not going to play all of that song. I think that's the way it starts. That is Freebird, right? That's kind of how it goes. Well, I know it's those chords, right? It's a G followed by a D, and then you do a couple little gradations right there, and then you're going to go to a C, and then back to the G again, and then an F. Right, like that. So this is educational, purely educational. We're not attempting to make an entertainment version of Freebird for anyone. We're just showing you the chord progression that Freebird starts out with, because it's a common chord progression, right? I mean, you can do anything you want to with it, and that wasn't Freebird at all. It just happened to be the same chords in the same order, right? But you can't copyright. You can't copyright the pentatonic scale, folks. Can't copyright the pentatonic scale. All right. Anyway, last night David did a lot of music. He did some of his own 30,000 Years, great song. And of course, he covered a couple other things, a little bit of Stone Temple Pilots, and I think he did Temple of the Dog. One of his kids came on and tried to do Temple. It wasn't good, but it was fun, because getting together with friends and playing music is always fun, even if it doesn't come out exactly right. Okay? Somebody was asking what's a good way to copy thousands of hours of YouTube. Depending upon what it is. I mean, sometimes if you're downloading for personal use without monetary remuneration, you can get away with just about copying just about anything. But if you're reproducing for monetary gain, the rules generally are the content creator, unless they specifically say that it's open for public use, the content actually belongs to the content creator or whoever happens to run the recording label in the case of music. Heterodox is asking if I'm playing rhythm or lead. Yes. I mix the two. That's kind of what I do. I kind of enjoy mixing the lead and the rhythm together, because Um, Maybe I don't always want to. Okay, so how it goes. So I could do that's kind of like mixing a little bit of your rhythm section for Fade to Black, and I'm playing melody by picking individual notes out of those chords. So there you go. I like to do a little bit of both. And I'll try to get as much of the rhythm as I can and enough of the melody so you get the voicing in there, especially if it's things that I just can't hit myself with because I'm kind of a baritone range, but not great because I used to smoke, so I don't have a full baritone range either. Um, Occasionally, I can make my voice sound good, but not all the time. Also, I used to be a violin player, so I got used to playing an awful lot of melody. So, yeah, yeah. Sometimes I'll go and make playlists that I mean, unless it's the actual artist that uploads the material, the playlist have a tendency, the songs in the playlist have a tendency to disappear if copyright claims are made. Um, but generally speaking, yeah, if you want to have music, then just go ahead and go to what is it, Spotify or it is, and order it up, put it on a hard drive. Used to be able to get it off of LimeWire. I think they shut LimeWire down. Yeah, cheap pennies. I mean, nowadays you don't have to buy an entire album, right? You can just buy the songs you like. That's kind of cool. Okay, some people are like, well, we used to be able to sell the whole LP, and we do the concert tours, we'd sell the T-shirts, sell the tickets out at the concerts. Then we'd have a few specials, and then it's back to working out what's going to be on the next album. And you have to come up with an whole album's worth of music. That was the deal, right? Because the record company was selling a record, a whole album, not one song. Now, you had singles, and some artists very early on, like 50s and 60s, there were a lot that were just singles, or one or two songs, and that's all you ever got. But about in the 1970s, the LPs started taking over, and then from there on up into the 80s or so, it was full albums, and then it became full albums, cassettes, following the vinyl, the cassette comes up, and then it becomes CDs. And your CD is once again a full album, usually with extra content, hidden tracks, and other stuff. And that was cool too. Um, but now you don't even have to buy that. All you have to do is buy the one song that you want. You download it to your digital device, and you've got that one song. And so for the artists that don't want to crank out a whole bunch of junk just so they can fill up the side of an album, it's a great thing because they don't have to look at a song and go, it's okay, but I don't really like it, or it doesn't really fit with the theme that we're trying to put out for this particular album. You don't have to worry about that because you're only releasing one song at a time. Yeah, LimeWire, Pirate Bay, uTorrent, stuff like that. Napster. Oh yeah, I remember Napster. 49 years left on town. Yeah. But if you want to have your music whenever there is no electricity, you gotta have these things, right? And you could play old music. stuff like that. You could do old music. And some of these songs, one of the advantages of playing really old songs, other than some of the really old ones aren't copyrighted anymore. But one of the advantages of really old songs is there's enough time for people to get to know them, right? That's it. Is that the way it goes? It's supposed to be E or E minor here. Well, I can hear that train coming, rolling around the bend. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. Time keeps dragging on. Dude, that's an old one, right? Oh, Hank Williams. Great song. My apologies, Hank. I did not learn this one directly from you. I learned it from someone else. Apologies. I think I may have actually learned that one on the internet. But that wasn't Hank's song to begin with either. Oh. See, this is an old classic, right? The cowboy went out riding on one dark day. Upon a ridge he rested as he went along his way, when all at once somebody heard of red-eyed cows he saw. Ragged sky. Oh, that was an F chord, right? And the cloudy draw. I haven't played that one in a minute. Faith K saying El Paso, Marty Robbins. There you go. I haven't heard a Marty Robbins record in ages. But everybody was playing Ghost Rider. Folsom Prison, I can't remember who it was originally that did it. It wasn't. Or was it? Maybe Folsom Prison was one that Johnny actually did write. There's a bunch that he didn't. Yeah, it's kind of hard to put up like dark web versions of stuff, because all dark web really is the internet that is not cataloged in a searchable format. It's web pages that you have to know the address of the web page to get to. You can't just enter something into a search engine and find it. It's not listed. It's like having an unlisted phone number. It's essentially every single ISP, every address, like right here, this ISP, is unique and different. And it's matched to a physical location. So if I can find your ISP, I can find your physical location. That's kind of a little disturbing, right? If I can find your ISP, I can find your location. Of course, that's why people use software like anonymizer software. There are various anonymizer programs out there, but that's the reason why people use it. It's like, so you don't know where I am. Of course, I operate a business out of home, so I have to have my address up there where people can find it. It's actually required by law if I'm going to be operating an online business. I either have to. Okay, so with a physical location, for example, we do have a physical location, so I actually have to have it listed to be legit. So if you go to our website, it's www.greencountryagroforestry.com. If you go to our website, you're going to find great deals on heirloom seeds, trees, whenever we get around to the dormant season, we start shipping them again, and other garden needs. As yet to be determined. It's going to really depend upon what happens in the future here with our trade agreements with China and some other things, because pallets full of garden tools aren't cheap, and I don't want to spend the money for them and not be able to actually get them. That's kind of there's some risk involved there. What was he saying? You can go to our website and do what? Oh, Yes, you can go to our website, and at the very bottom, it actually has my phone number and my physical address right there. You can look me up. You can stop by. You can visit. I don't care. Call ahead. I may be busy. If you want to visit, we've got a grape arbor. It's nice. We've got a fire pit. It's nice. Bring some drinks. I'm out. Bring some charcoal, because probably my charcoal has already been turned into biochar and it's not going to be useful to cook brats on. Bring some brats. Um, Bring some entertainment. I don't mind. Come on by. I enjoy company, but whenever the visit's done, you do have to leave. But really, I don't mind. I may bring out the camera and we'll sit down and have a chat, and it may turn up showing up in a video. I might make it a live stream. We might even make a habit if people stop by on a regular basis that want to hang out and have a garden party. I'll have a garden party live stream on the regular. I don't mind. I really don't. I love company. It gives me something to do. Faith says, I need to buy corns from you. All right. Let me see. Do I have where's my knife? How many do you want? They might be a little bloody. I do still have seed corn. I have seed corn that I've already planted, from the batch we've already planted. And of course, we've got the ones that we've harvested. They'll probably be going in to packages. Stop. The stuff that we just harvested will be going out for this fall. By this fall, it should be cured in and ready to ship. But I do have enough that if somebody orders some now, I do have enough to cover. As long as you don't order like more than 10 packages. I think I have 18 maybe? 18 packs left. They're not all packaged up already. I keep them stored separately, and I package them as the orders come in. Stabby said I want to come by and visit last week, but I was too busy working the property. It had like 300 feet of gravel driveway that needed fixing. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Work, huh? I had some good watermelon last week. I got some kind of mid watermelon this week. We'll see. Let's see. The packs are 16 grams or a minimum of 100 seeds each. Ta-da. Vicky says, Jason, what? What'd I do? Oh, I've been going for almost 2 hours. Yeah, so it's actually nice. This fan over here has made it so much better, so much nicer. Have that air blowing right on me. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what. Like the last website, I mainly stopped because I was suffering from exhaustion because I was cooking. And I would be cooking if not for this family. It's just been great. But it's about 2 hours in. I'm going to have to go to bed because I've got to get up early and feed some duckies and pull some weeds and do other stuff tomorrow. Hopefully, I can get up the oomph to go around tomorrow and shoot some video of our postage stamp front yard garden, and we may make that the next video coming up. I've got some in the can for our second corn planting, how we went about doing that, the different technique that we're using. That's gotten started. The plants are about yay tall right now, and we're going to wait until they're about yay tall before I plant the beans among them. We're going to go ahead and do the full Three Sisters garden with beans and corn and all. Only I've got sweet potatoes growing on the ground as a ground cover. They're probably not going to fully cover the ground either, at least not back there. I think the corn's going to wind up ultimately shading them out. But we do have sweet potatoes growing as ground cover in other locations, and that will be part of the video that hopefully I'll be able to shoot tomorrow. If it doesn't just get so soul crushingly hot out that I walk outside and say nope and go back in, because that may happen. It happened today. I went out there. And I went out there and just ran the sprinklers, and that was it. I was like, okay, that's it. I just got enough water so that everything that's recently planted, I know I've got stuff that I've recently planted. Everything that I've recently planted got the water it needs to germinate and grow. Um, I'm still a couple more months off of my next crop of watermelons because I ran out. Hopefully, I'll get some more before the frost hits us. In any case, Vicky, wholly own my own property. Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate the offer, and who knows what happens if some point in the future they actually do manage to trap us in a corner where we wind up being forced to sell one way or the other. We may actually take you up on the offer, but at the moment, Mary's happy with having her own place and so on and so forth. Let's see. Yeah, some meds take. Yeah, yes. I'm familiar with a couple that are like that. Insulin and a lot of antibiotics are heat sensitive too. 180. Jeez, that's hot. That's hot. Bernie Leadon played a different instrument each song. Imagine that. I know how to play the violin, the guitar, the piano. No, I don't really know how to play piano. I mean, it's the entire scale straight up with your sharps and flats on the black keys. But other than that, no, I'm not a well versed in piano. I can pick out anything on it, but I'm not a piano player. And then of course, guitar, kazoo. I can play kazoo. I can play the kazoo. Very good at kazoo. I can play the imaginary harmonica. Yeah, I can do that. I have real harmonicas around here, and I can kind of manage the Battle Hymn of the Republic on a harmonica. That's about as far as I managed to get with learning how to play a harmonica. I was trying to learn to do a few Neil Young covers, but just never could quite get the harmonica that's down. Oh no, I did not. Antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds cause heat exhaustion too. No, I did not. I wonder if that include. Surely that doesn't include passion fruit, does it? Maybe. Down south in South America, the parents give the kids passion fruit juice because it calms them down and makes them go to bed. It's an anti-anxiety, anti-spasmodic, mild sedative. And it tastes good. Well, I mean, I like it. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it a night. You guys have been a wonderful audience. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Remember, get out there and get growing, and I will catch you next time. Or maybe that's the other way around. Good night, everybody.